Yes.
Okay, ready?
All right, thank you.
Sorry.
That's okay. Good evening, everyone. Calling to order this evening's Borough of Conshohocken Authority General Meeting, monthly meeting. Today is February 24th, and I am going to call to order. Do we want to do a quick roll call, please?
Aparna Chibber. Christine Bertino.
Here.
Jack Ambler.
Here.
George Bess. Tina Sokolowski.
Here. Excellent. All right, let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, if you don't mind. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Any public comment this evening come in for discussion? Okay, and we have no one in the audience today, so we'll move right in. Doesn't look like we have any invited guests this evening to have any discussions. Do we need an executive session for anything this evening?
There will be an executive session following the meeting.
Okay.
That'll be regarding personnel and potential litigation.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So moving right into the approval of our meeting minutes from January 27th of 2026. Does anyone have any questions related to or concerns related to the minutes that we received for review? Hearing no questions, do I have a motion to accept the meeting minutes into record?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Moving into our report section of the meeting this evening, we'll start out with our financial report. Let's see here. So in our financial report, we have our accounts payable and revenues. Any questions related to anything on the reports that we received for accounts payable or revenue? Okay. Hearing no questions related to the detailed report from January, I am looking for a motion to accept the grand total of $726,032.02. And since this is approving dollars, we'll do a roll call vote for that. So a motion to approve.
We'll pick up because I guess we have to discuss the other payment, or?
Yeah, we can.
Or do we last time I think we did it during his section anyway, right? So you look just at the same.
Yeah, you want to do that during the engineering
yes.
section? This will just be for the dollars related to January.
Okay. Sorry.
That's okay. So $726,032.02.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Could I do a roll call vote, please?
Sure. Christine Bertino.
Yes.
Jack Ambler.
Yes.
Tina Sokolowski.
Yes. All right. Hearing all approved, motion carries. And it looks like we have a couple other items under our financial report that we want to discuss. So the first item would be our 2026 life and disability insurance renewal with the Hartford Group.
So for the Hartford renewal, they renewed us through May of 2028 with no increase at all.
Wow.
So that was the only thing that I wanted to say about the Hartford renewal,
Okay.
that it's good until May.
So did we build that in as a no increase into the budget for this calendar year already?
I think we had it as like a 5% increase, so
Okay.
it'll be a little low.
Okay, perfect. So a savings, even better.
Same coverage though.
Same, nothing's changed.
Okay, perfect. Any questions related to the Hartford? No increase? Hearing no questions, the next item on the agenda looks like that we have a request in from Conshohocken Baseball and Softball League for a donation. Generally, we have some funds allocated for donations. I do not think we've spent through all of the allotted funds for donations, correct?
We have not.
Okay.
And the last donation we made was $250.
Yes.
Off the top of my head, I can't remember what it was for.
That was for the
Basketball.
basketball.
Oh, Donofrio.
Yep.
Yeah, because so I was thinking $250 for this, even though there was not a category for $250.
You could do the capital, any amount.
We could, and then I also wanted to throw it out there. I thought it was really nice that they have one category to pay for
Yeah.
kids that can't afford.
I like that.
Do you have it up in front of you? Do you mind reading it off if you have it in
Yeah,
front of
because
you?
I don't know why it's not in the packet.
Yeah, I do.
Thanks. Sorry to put you on the spot.
There's a Nathan Ayala Memorial Fund, which is really nice because I knew Nathan Ayala. That's $150. And then there was, yeah,
There's a
that's
bunch of
it.
options.
So $150, it is the Nathan Ayala, I didn't even realize it was for him, to offset the registration fees cost for any families who have financial challenges to play baseball. And the donation is $150. I mean, would they care if we gave $250?
I'm sure that we could give them more and still specify it for that fund,
Yeah.
if that's how we want to do it.
Like, that's what I thought was nice. So we're giving back to the families who are paying water bills.
And I'm thinking if you roll it up to 300, that might be two
Oh.
kids.
Yeah. I didn't know
Or
how
more.
much they charge.
You can,
but
yeah,
yes.
because if, well, not that I'm throwing it out there, but you have that 750 window that usually you guys donate 1,000. So you could.
It's 1,000 for 5 groups.
Yeah, for 5, right, so.
And it starts on January, so do we want to spend 5,000 a year, or do we want to spend, or just
No,
do
but
5?
if we
No,
do
no, no.
300,
No, but I'm saying even if you do 300.
Right, yeah,
We're
300,
using-
I'm cool with
400.
300, that's fine, yeah.
Yeah,
yeah. So do I need to make a motion for the 300, or how's that
I
work?
think so.
I would, yes.
Okay, I make a motion that we donate $300 to Conshohocken Little League for the Nathan Ayala Memorial Fund.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. I feel like banging my mallet today.
I love it.
Against my head. What's that?
Sometimes it fits.
We come to judge.
All right, so that looks like it concludes the financial report unless there's anything else, Shannon, from your perspective that you want to talk about. Okay, so I would be looking for a motion to accept the financial report into record.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right. Next item on our agenda this evening is under Solicitor's Report. So it looks like we've got a couple items under there. Lauren?
Couple action items this month. The first is the acceptance of an amended and restated deed of easement for the project located at 720 Spring Mill Avenue, Conshohocken. The developer is 720 Spring Mill LP. My office has worked with the Developers Council to get this in a form that's ready for approval this evening, and Mr. Perkowski has already signed this on behalf of the developer.
Will you remind me what we're signing here?
What it is during construction, the sanitary sewer line moved a little bit, and the original easement was not centered over it. So we go back and make him correct the easement, so that way we can access it properly in the future.
We have developers record their easements at the beginning of a project so that when everything's done, we don't have to chase them to get the easements recorded and the mains dedicated and everything. So this is part of the process that sometimes when it shifts during construction, we have to go back and correct the easement.
So is that the sewer main that lands in the middle of people's backyards? That,
It's in an alley.
so it's not in a fenced-in backyard?
No.
So I received a call from the new president of the homeowners association for that project. And they and their neighbors were applying to put a fence in the backyard, a shared fence to let their dogs run through multiple yards. They reached out to zoning, I think, and were instructed that there is a sewer main or an easement in their back of their property that nobody was aware of.
It's a stormwater pipe because.
So it's stormwater?
Yes.
Okay.
So it looks like, I'm just looking at the plans for this, the main itself is in the alleyway. The easement, part of it, it does look like it encroaches onto a small portion of the backyards of some of these properties. Am I misreading this?
No, you're reading it correctly. I mean, it may be that the alleyway is, I'm making these numbers up, 15 feet wide. The easement is 20 feet, so there may be 2.5 feet that their fence couldn't go right up to the actual alley. It's actually, because we're 10 feet on either side, it's possible, but I think you're right. I think it's a stormwater that is the real thing. I mean, they couldn't put a fence that close to the alley, I don't believe.
There was the two of them on, there's two on East 7th. It's like 404 and 406.
So one of the questions that they have is, it's unfortunate that their developer did not mention that that was on their property to begin with. So that's something that they'll work through. But one of the questions they had was, neither of them have any problems with giving us permission to do what we need to do from an easement perspective if we somehow could identify how to write in that into their new homeowners association to make it like a permanent, as a way to give it back to, so it's not Burkowski, the builder, asking for it, it's the new homeowners association who are the owners of the property. Probably not something to discuss here right now, but I needed to let you know that there are folks that are asking questions, and our automatic response to them was, no, they can't do it. I don't think that's the way that we want to do it. I think these are project by project. I think we need to look at these project by
You
project.
certainly can, but if you look at the location
We'll
of the
look at it
main.
and show you afterwards. It's probably only a foot. It's literally nothing.
And typically, when we do those types of agreements, it allows the authority to tear down a fence if it needs to get access
And
to
they,
that
I
at their cost.
Yeah, and we talked about that. So I think that it's an opportunity for us to open up a window of discussion with them, because they're building their bylaws now. So as they're building their bylaws, if that's something that they can get everyone to vote into it, then maybe it's an option for them.
We just have to make sure that we can access it with our flushing truck.
Sure.
So, like, if it's a 1-foot encroachment, that's okay. If it's more than that, if we get a clog and it's backing up, we don't want it to cause property damage. So they may have to move their fence in a little bit shorter to what they bought. That's my main thing, is I can get a flushing truck.
I just think that it's an
Definitely
opportunity
an
for us to look at it
Yep.
from a customer service, especially since it's a homeowners association, that we're not dealing with the builder, we're dealing with an association who could put it in bylaws, basically saying that whoever lives there, it has to happen.
What it looked like to me, it looks like the line goes right down the property line. So if that's where they wanted to put the fence, my concern would be how deep is that line? And how deep are the fence posts going to go?
So he did have those measurements from the fence company, and based on, I guess, whatever they looked at from zoning. So they did have those numbers. He called them out to me, but it wasn't really familiar to me. So I said I would bring it here to just put it on the table to talk about, is there a way we could work?
And we can certainly discuss it. I think that talking about encroaching onto an easement area is a different conversation than over top of the main. I'm not aware of any sewer
Sure.
authority that would allow a fence constructed over top of the pipe itself.
Okay, so let's figure out what it really is, and then see if there's something that we could talk about to see if it could get built into whatever. Okay.
What are they asking for? They just want us to
So
condense it
because-
from 20 down to 18 or something feet.
They want to put a fence up, and they were told no, they
So we
can't.
were hard no.
We were hard
So
no.
we're trying to figure out if there's. a
We're
way
trying to figure
in the
out,
middle.
is there a
Okay.
way that they could do that?
There's a recorded easement that prohibits them from putting anything, including specifically fences, in this easement area. What we're doing tonight is just readjusting the line to account for where the actual pipe ended up with construction, but that easement's already in place.
And the change in the path doesn't help or hurt this cause.
It may shift it a foot or two.
Yeah, it's
I
just
think
okay.
that when construction was happening, because of the topography and the geography of
Yeah.
where everything was going, I think the pipe had to shift a little bit, so it may kind of affect it.
Like, this is stormwater, we moved the sanitary pipe.
Yeah, right. During construction, it had to be moved for whatever.
Right, but they probably don't know that, and if they had somebody come out and scopes, like if the easement wasn't there, I can't remember what you just said.
It's
It was
already-
always there.
It's already recorded.
Okay,
Well
perfect.
before.
So then they would have worked around that probably if they'd known that.
was before we were involved, I think.
We require the recording of the sanitary easement at the beginning of the project, so back
Okay.
before any construction started.
So that would have been on the specs. I think you're right, I think it's the stormwater that is the one that's,
I'm sure it's stormwater.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, so
Chad and I
let's
were just
figure
talking
out
about this.
outside of here who we want to talk to, who I want to bring in from the homeowners association, just to give you guys the scope of what it is, and then give us some space to figure out if there's something that we can or can't do based on the legal regs around all of that. And if they're willing to take it all in and put it in the homeowners association, then that's great, and if they're not, then that's the way it plays too. But it shouldn't be at the sacrifice of an expense on us. We're just looking at it from a customer service perspective.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay, great, thank you.
So the motion right now is just the acceptance of the corrected easement document, so.
Correct. All right. Any questions related to now the corrected easement document that has to do with 720 Spring Mill LP? All right, hearing no questions, do I have a motion to accept the amended restated deed easement for that project?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
And then, I'm sorry,
I didn't know if they were contributing to the conversation or
We found the,
paper shuffling over there.
I apologize, did we vote?
We voted.
Okay, so I'm still on me. So the next item is the deed of dedication for the same project. As I said, they have constructed the pipe itself. Fred has approved this. There's 3 manholes and then a whole bunch of linear feet of pipe. There's some 8-inch, some 10-inch, and some 4-inch throughout the pipe. But again, this is, Mr. Bukowski has signed this for dedication over to the authority, and this is in a form acceptable for the authority's consideration this evening.
And this is specifically the sewer,
Sewer,
not
sanitary.
stormwater.
Correct.
Okay.
correct.
So have any questions related to that deed?
Again, what do we actually do? They're just turning over what they've done.
They're telling you that way we'll own it and maintain it. So they're actually dedicating it after the end of the maintenance period. They've done as-bills, completed all punch list items, and it's ready to be owned and operated by the authority. This is just an action that we start of when we take it, so you can almost book it from a financial standpoint.
Right, and this is something that DEP requires. The DEP does not allow these types of facilities to remain in private ownership. The DEP wants us to own, they want a public entity owning all the mains and all that, so.
Cool.
Okay. Any other
How much
questions?
feet did we pick up then, or?
It's a lot, hold on.
1,000?
It is 182 linear feet of 8-inch pipe, 228 feet of 10-inch PVC main, 234 feet of 4-inch PVC lateral, 3 sanitary sewer manholes, and all related appurtenances.
All right. Thank you.
And
I
this,
can't do that math on the top of my head.
this deed is valid even though the dates are not put in the beginning of the deed?
Yes, because until the authority accepts it, it's not a
Okay.
valid agreement. We'll fill that all in with the signatures and everything.
Okay.
So just I guess a operational question. So we accept all that extra lines and we own it now. in our structure, how do we plan for maintenance of that? Like, what do we collect that will account for down the road? the
Well, your
maintenance?
sewer rental fee is what does it. So it's
Sewer
really our
rental fee.
operations staff. So basically Vinny, the TV truck. So they do a great job of flushing them probably every year, just about, and televising them over a 3-year period. So we're out there, basically all year round. That we have one crew dedicated to maintaining it. They're really, the life of a PVC pipe is probably 100 years. We don't know the manholes are, but we're checking to make sure there's no infiltration, every, 5-10 years we're televising it to make sure nobody drove a pipe through it, a stake through it, no roots, entered into it. We're doing that, and that's part of their monthly sewer rental fee. So a part of our budget every year goes to line maintenance.
Right, so in essence, the years that we don't raise our fees, we have done an evaluation that show that our fees cover now all those linear feet of all of those things that have to be done. I guess the question that I'm trying to get to is there a threshold of the amount of extra piping we put in with all of these building projects, the new ones, that we need to account for in
And the answer to that
operations?
question is, it will be when you would hire an additional employee.
Okay.
But all of the developments that we have done in the last 10 years probably amount to a 2% increase in the total linear footage within the borough. So if you look at the borough here in West Conshohocken, and an example, we swallowed all of West Conshohocken without really adding any additional staff. So our staff, now to add 300 feet on, 800,000 really is a de minimis number.
So we're not scoping pricing on how many linear feet
Nope.
of pipes we have. We scope our pricing on the amount of staff and the
And equipment.
efficiencies that we garner in our operations that could offset
Yes.
that.
So you have two costs. You have primary labor costs, secondary is equipment maintenance, flush truck, TV truck, repairing, upgrading that, keeping up with that technology. So that is accounted for every year in your budget. So whether it be a capital improvement that we're buying a new truck, raises for the guys, overtime, you're accounting for that in your budget, and that is then represented in the sewer bill. If you pass your budget and we don't need to raise rates, then we're adequately covering it. If you do your budget and you need to raise rates, then we weren't adequately covering it, and we have to adjust the sewer rental fee.
Where do those RBCs come in?
They're a capital expenditure, so they're on a 30-year life, so we have 3 trains. We replace 1 train every 10 years approximately, unless we get a grant or something else happens. So, yeah, so since my tenure, we've replaced 2 of the 3 trains since I've been here.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And you guys inspected this pipe that was put
Yep.
in? Okay,
Yep,
yes.
and so when
You're happy with the quality?
We not only inspect it, but once it's done, it's televised to make
Right.
sure that no sags happened after we got done. Because when we're looking at the outside of the pipe, and you can't tell after somebody compacts it. So then it's then televised, and then we go back through and do as-bills. In this exact scenario, the as-bills came back to show that the slope was less than the minimum required by DEP. So they had to rip out the 8-inch and install a 10-inch pipe that they could do the slope that met the DEP standards. So we're not only checking and televising it, we are also complying as-bills to DEP standards.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you. All right, so that was a roundabout way to get to the deed acceptance. So do I have a motion for acceptance of the deed dedication for the project located at 720 Spring Mill?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
And that concludes the action items on my report this evening, but I'm happy to answer any other questions.
Any other questions for the solicitor this evening? Then I am looking for a motion to accept the solicitor's report into record.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right. Next up is our engineer's report this evening.
All right, the first one is consideration payment application number 3 to HB Frazer in the amount of $329,162.50. So what this work is for to install not only temporary facilities, but more importantly, the automatic transfer switch. The automatic transfer switch was originally going to be installed in July, but we weren't going to get the MCCs, and we weren't going to start work until beginning of March. MCCs came in early. We saved a lot of money on our temporary power by not providing heat. Well, wouldn't you know it, we got the coldest winter on the face of the earth, and I got a project that is 2.5 months early. So all my best laid plans that I did all fall and winter, saying I'm not going to get this, came in. So what we did was work that we were going to do in July that's not temperature dependent, we did in January and February, and we had to adjust some things. So we shuffled it around. It doesn't have a negative impact on their schedule. It's just different than what we had approved. And we're going to continue to juggle this as the weather comes down. And they're very flexible. They're bringing this to the table. It's not like we've got to say, hey, would you consider? They're like, hey, doesn't this make a little bit more sense? And we can do this and keep on their schedule. They are really adamant about that August 2nd to be done because it's September 30th. So, we're pushing real hard. Something's going to happen. Like this cold weather could have hurt us if we couldn't have done the automatic transfer switch. So, we built basically 45 days in there, to our schedule, technically 60 days, but I want to sleep at night. So that's what they're doing. They're doing a great job so far. I mean, there's been no real issues, on there. We had to get a breaker fixed. We got the breaker fixed. They bring stuff up. They're not trying to make a change order out of everything. They just want to keep on moving. And they make their money on production, so. Any other questions on the payment request for contract 25-1?
Nope, and it's all within the scope of the budget, you said.
Yep.
So it's just shuffling it around.
Yep, no change orders yet.
And we don't care about cash flow, like there's no,
I want to spend it as fast as possible because the more I spend early on, if worst case scenario, play my nightmare scenario out, something gets delayed and I can't get an extension on my grant. The more money that I am eligible for and I spend up is less risk I have at the end of the job. I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, if we get a flood down there, something crazy happens, I don't think they're going to yank it away. What they don't want me doing is awarding a contract on September that's due September 30th, but just because the federal could call that money back, not that they will, I don't want to take a risk. It's $2 million. I mean, it's a great opportunity for us. So that's why we're doing. That's why we got all the equipment ordered earlier, rather than like cash flowing it and have this one do this month. I said order it all, get it all on your site. That way, if there's some strike, some shipping issue, whatever that could delay it, I don't have that risk. So it's all about managing on construction jobs like this, which is not a big job, but it's not a small job either. It's about managing your risk. And that's really what we're trying to do is minimize our risk. There's always risk. It's an existing utility, we're going to hit bumps in the road. I just haven't hit them on day 1, 2, or 3 yet. So I think we're looking for approval of that payment request.
So I'm looking for a motion to approve the payment request in the amount of $329,162.50 for payment number 3 to HB Frazer.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Next one, real quickly, is your report card for the year on your Chapter 94 report. And I will make this quick, but it's a proud moment for you guys. So on the hydraulic loading, our annual average flows are down by over 100,000 gallons this year. The difference between our annual average, the average of 365 days, and your max 3 consecutive monthly flow, February, March, March, April, and May, the wettest years, is a difference of 4,000 gallons. That's unbelievable given that we went into a drought at the end of the year. So most of my people, design capacity is 33% difference between max rate consecutive month and annual average. Good system is about 20%. You were 3%. You're 3%. So you can see that the first page that I handed out, you can see that line right there. It's basically the same exact line. And you're allowed to go annual average of 2.3 million, hydraulic design of 3 million. You know, we're out there. And over the last, in the last 2 years, we added 600 EDUs. From 23 to 25, we added 600 EDUs, and my flow went down. That's pretty impressive. You know, a lot of that, honestly, weather. It didn't rain a lot, you know, but it's still something to be really proud of. And you can see, if you turn over to the next page, that looks back 5 years and looks ahead 5 years. This year is not an anomaly. This is what you guys do year in and year out, because Vinny and his staff are out there televising, flushing, fixing it, being very anal on the facilities that we accept dedication of. I mean, we had a joint that literally, it slides in 18 inches, they slide it in 17 inches. We made the guy put a liner on the inside of it. It's that attention to detail is why, you know, they have that. Next page over is your organic loading. And our max monthly was 4,440. Our load was 5,500. Remember last year, we were real close to around 5,000. So we brought that up. It's driven it down. Our annual average is about 3,500. So we have, you know, obviously because our flow per EDU is so low, we have a higher strength waste. You know, people still do the same. But you can see that we're well within all of our permit limits. And if you flip over, the next one is the trend line. And you can see how before we were kind of trending up, we started talking about that last year, and now we're trending down, which is exactly what you want to do. You know, you're going to trend up just because you're adding a lot of people. You know, you add an apartment complex, you know, your loading is going to go up more than your hydraulics because people are people. We still eat, we still go to the bathroom, we still do our laundry, we just have water conserving fixtures now. You know, and in an apartment, you do the same thing that you do in a house. You just don't waste water because you don't run a bath, you don't take a 4-hour shower, you don't run your laundry 6 times a day. So, you know, other than that, I mean, really something to be proud of. You know, we're right on track. Exactly where you want to be, exactly where you are, you know, and that's really a testament to our operations group. You know, we identified some issues last year, we corrected them, and we're moving forward and continuing to monitor it even more closely this year. So like I said, take a bow. You guys are the fun one.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Take a bow.
I've got some rather tough conversations I'm going to have the rest of this month, where people are going to be in corrective action plans and not able to make connections.
So from the perspective of transparency to our community, based on the report that you gave us, the permits that we have are in good standing. We don't need to change any permitting of what we have, and we're managing the sewer and the loading at the highest level of efficiency that you've seen in your other.
Absolutely. And you're actually overperforming. So the fact that you perform to a slightly lower standard in the future was the fact that you overachieve so much now. I don't want that to be a negative in the future. If it cramps up to a 10% loading, 20% is great. You know, you're there. 3%'s not really realistic. And the organic loading, you know, you're right there. You have to track it. You really need quality control to go through there because you're dense. You're a lot denser than and all your developments are dense. You know, I mean, you know, everything that comes in here is, you know, it's not single-family lots on half acres. You know, you got 300 units on 8 acres. You know, so, you know, you have it there. But no, to answer your question, you are overperforming. And I think it's a testament, and we're well within our compliance. I think, you know, you're not always going to do this well. You know, I don't want to feel that you have to, this is a bar that you want to achieve every year, but you can't keep on getting better. Like there's a point you're 3% different. It's a statistical anomaly. The biggest thing is just keeping up with, especially with our organic loading, because you can see you're outpacing your organic load, so you're going to be organically overloaded before you're hydraulically overloaded, which makes sense. A lot of people, there's not, normal development, you got 300 laterals for 300 apartments if they're townhouses. Here you don't. You got 2 that come out of the building.
But that being said, even on the organic load projection, from a
That's a
strategic
5-year
planning.
projection ahead,
Right.
and you are well good within 5 years.
Perfect. So that's part of the strategic planning that the team has done over the last several years with the engineer to make sure that we're
Yep,
set
and
up
and
for
that's why we
future
look ahead,
success.
and that's why, like I said, this is your report card. This is really where, from an engineering standpoint and performance of the plant, that we evaluate the next 5 years. That's our part of it. Different than your capital plan or other things where equipment wears out. This is really, do you have enough capacity? And can we meet the underlying zoning of our municipalities that we host? And that if we don't, I get a chance to look ahead and say, oh no, we don't have enough capacity for this, whatever it is,
Perfect. Great, thank you for that explanation.
On the organic capacity, I know that's getting better, and I guess, I think you guys are going to talk about it in some of the other, in the later reports too, but I mean, we were so close to that design daily, I mean, we got to, like, within a few percentage points of
We were.
that, and if we'd exceeded that, would we've, is that a peak day average?
No, it's a max month.
Max month.
It's a max month. If you're in a max month.
Is this
you
max
are-
month you've got draft here? Or
What?
Is this max month you have graphed here? Or
Yes,
is that- okay,
yes.
okay.
What I'm showing
So
you
we
is
were
max-
really close even to the max month then.
Yeah, we were at 5,000 and some, we were within 300 milligrams per or pounds per day.
Yeah.
And this year we're down to 440, so, I've got a pretty significant difference there. What actually happens is that you are in a existing overload. Doesn't mean you're in a projected overload, which means you have to submit a corrective action plan to the DEP. DEP has to review and approve it. They manage your EDUs and future connections through a connection management plan, which means everyone. 2-lot subdivision has to do a full planning module. So instead of a 2-week exemption, it's an 8-month process. And it has to be
If we'd
reviewed
exceeded
by
just
DEP.
on 1 month, we would be then, and we'd have to like show a certain amount of time of meeting.
I had to
before we get
explain
released.
out a 1-minute flow interval in Lower Pottsgrove Township that was going to put me into a hydraulic overload for 1 minute out of 365 days in a year. We quickly won that argument.
And I guess there's, yeah, I mean, other than obviously
And that's where really what we're going to do is really look at it, and I don't know if it's Sunday, but we're going to put it out every month in the operations report. That way we can kind of track it, because you see, we brought it up, last June and July, and you can see how it's trended down since then. And that's really our goal is to stay on top of it every month. But, I mean, you get bad samples too. I mean, there's sometimes I have statistical anomalies that I have to get out that I can't explain. 300 milligrams, 300 milligrams, 300 milligrams, 1,300 milligrams. That's not right. I don't use that data. I'll call that from that. But I'll identify it in the report that I called it and why I called it. But the earlier that you get ahead of that, it's better on, and really is by looking at it during the month, is that if you get a statistical anomaly, like it's trending up higher, 300, 300, 500, 600, 700, then you start doing additional samples, so your monthly average goes down. The hard thing about BOD is 5-day test. I may not get it back from the lab for 7. So unless you get the samples early on, and you guys take 1 or 2 per month, per week?
2 a week.
2 a week. So you got 8 samples, so it's not horrible, but it's kind of hard if the last 2 come in high.
Yeah.
I can't
So
catch
if we
up.
start climbing again, you would go to more frequent samples to
Yes.
get more of a mean.
No, exactly.
Okay. All right, cool.
It's a port test.
Yes.
The BOD does it as a port test.
There's a lot of
Hopefully,
variation.
as we go through the future with AI and everything else, there'll be analyticals that will get a better test instead of take 5 days. It should be, you should be able to do something in 10 minutes. And I do anticipate that occurring.
Does
Not
that
in my- man, not
technology
my life, but-
exist today?
I mean, what?
Does that technology exist today and we're
Not
just not
really.
using
I'll
it?
tell you how unscientific it is. You got a vat that it takes a sample every 10 minutes, right? It's flow paced. but there. And then the operator picks it up, he shakes it to make it uniform, and takes if he went down 8 inches instead of 12, you get a different result. You know, that's why we do them. I mean, and as Brent will say, we always look at our effluent more, but unfortunately in Chapter 94, you're almost worse on your influent. You know, and DEP doesn't want, the purpose of this is to prevent a township from putting their head in the sand and all this, and not realizing that they're running out of capacity, approving more developments, and now they're not properly treating wastewater going in. And they say, oops, we're all billed out, we don't have any money, we're not doing it. That's why the 5-year look ahead, that you got time to budget, plan, or tell your host municipality, stop. No more.
I mean, right, we're kind of fine. Looks like we're doing great on hydraulics thanks to the staff, and that's awesome. So it's going to be organics. It's going to be our.
Absolutely. You're going to be organically limited way before.
But at the moment, you're saying it's not actually. We're probably not the plant capacity. It sounds like our influent load is probably. This number should be higher.
I think it's going to level off because I don't think you're going to have as many intense developments. I mean, what's happened to you is you guys converted to a heavy restaurant use on Fayette Street. I don't think that is going to double at any time soon. Our restaurants are pretty much our restaurants. There's not a ton more apartments that are going to go up to the order that we've had the last 5 years. I think you guys went like this, I think you're going to level out. You know, if you guys were going to open up another Fayette Street, 2 over, and we're going to have double the amount of restaurants, I might have a different opinion. But I'm not seeing that. I think you're at your saturation, you know, but it's not going to double.
The Main Street overlay may change it a little bit because it moves it from just down here to allowing some additional uses going up the middle avenues. So going from the post office up to 9th, there's an overlay district that allows some additional uses that may in the future look a little different, but it's not going to be as intense as the lower end.
Yeah, and was that like a 20% extension in length probably? I mean, we have to monitor it, and that's why we do this every year. And I may come back to you next year and say, hey guys, we're back up to where we were in 24. We got to start doing some more different things. You know, there are avenues when that happens. And I'm doing a lot of this. I can organically re-rate the treatment plant, so I can add additional aeration in the front. I can look at and basically pull the safety factors out of the original design. I don't like doing that, but I can do that. You know what I mean? Because if I feel confident that I can add the load and it won't impact my effluent, I will let you know you're taking your factor of safety out. But we can work with that where we're at. We can increase the efficiency. Some of the media, you have a dense and a low density RBC media. That's basically how small the holes are. You can change that to a high density or change the low to a medium, and you can increase your organic loading rate. It's on surface area. There's a lot of things that you can do. I don't want to upset the apple cart because it's working so well, and I don't have it. But there are things. I mean, I'm doing 3 organic upgrades right now for this exact issue, and as small as a 150,000 gallon a day plant in Worcester to a 3 million gallon a day plant in Salisbury. So and there's usually 10%. So I increase Robozonia, Warnersville, RBC, same exact thing, BCM design. I increase them by like 15%.
With actual capital improvement, not.
Oh, yeah.
not just doing
I replaced the media. I mean,
I guess I'm just worried.
5-10% maybe on paper. To get to 15, you got to spend money, and significant money.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, biology's biology. You know,
So
you
when we
can't
think
change it.
about strategic planning, and if that's one of our threat areas in the future, do we begin, since we're rolling towards the end of this $2 million grant, do we start looking for other grants out there for some of these other projects as we move forward? And do we have the capacity to be able to do that with our current staffing model to take on applying for some additional grant-funded projects from a capital perspective?
There's no issue. I mean,
Yeah.
We could do it.
And the advantage too that you have is that's really why you have a tapping fee. So as these people increase, they'll be paying their tapping fee, and we use that tapping fee to pay for these upgrades. And as part of your tapping fee calculation, you got to meet 5 out of 7 criteria. You can increase those, so that way, because we don't want the existing people to pay for it. So you can definitely do that. And I'm always looking for grant opportunities. I mean, we got to get back to I&I. We got a little bit more controls and a little more.
So we have other places to look at that if you're more worried.
Aging, yeah. But yeah, I'm almost out of I&I places productive. So maybe looking at an organic re-rate as a grant opportunity for another H2O would be a good one. I got my influent pump station, which we're kind of, wait until this gets out of the way to go through and do. Then you're basically, your head works, you can make that more efficient, and remove some BOD there. But unfortunately, the BOD is done in the beginning of the plant. So, it's definitely something that I'm going to be giving some thought to this spring of where do I really want to take you in the next direction for grants, and what do I really think your next risk assessment is. So what I kind of done, and I'll grant a former board member who talked me down this path, was really to sit and think about what's the greatest risk to you. To us, it was your switchgear. If that went, what do I do? And then your MCCs. So it was electrical, because that was 40 years old. And then the next thing was my control panels, Frankenstein. Let me get my influent controls up. So it'll be a matter of me just really thinking and working with the staff. Brent took away a lot of the things with making your sludge process more efficient. So there's risk and there's opportunity. So you kind of balance those two. I always look at my risk first, and one of your risk things is, let's get rid of chlorination and let's go ultraviolet disinfection so I don't have chlorine gas, or liquid chlorine at my treatment plant that could kill the river or could hurt, harm somebody. So they're the kind of things that you balance that with how do we become a more efficient operation by sludge management and things like that. Electrical upgrades, meaning more electrical efficient motors. Anything that's got, and it's not always 100% return on investment, it's keeping up with technology. And that's one of the things that I try to get my clients to do, is really to stay current with technology, that you're not the school district that builds a new school, doesn't do anything for 20 years, and then builds a new school. I try to keep it up, with as best you can. Sometimes you got a capital budget. You're a bigger plant, it's hard to piecemeal VFDs and things like that. Once you do it, you want to standardize, and you got to do all of them. So much for my short report tonight.
It just seems like we were close to, I think it sounds like, if we're able to approve these things fast right now, right, if we got this longer, it would not be great for us to be holding up that process. We were only a few percentage points away from hitting the organic loading and making.
And that's why we're monitoring it so closely. And that's where I'm looking at that trend going back, because that trend line was clearly going that direction. You can see it up to last year, and now it's trending from June, July on, it's trending down. I'll let you know next June, July where we're at, But, and there's some times where you just got to have an honest conversation with DEP that, listen, we got some crappy samples that came back and they just aren't represented. But I can normally, eliminate those from the analysis. That completes my report unless the board has any additional questions.
Anyone have any other questions?
I would just like to, I think that there's an opportunity to educate the public on these. That's my 2 cents.
Yep.
But it definitely needs to be simplified for the public so that they understand the investments that are made and what we're doing to work for them. I think that's how it could be presented.
I think a short blurb, especially that they'll get on the flows, is that our max 3 consecutive monthly annual average is 3%. Just that, whatever newsletter you guys put out, that it means more to me than anyone would realize that an annual average compared to a max 3 consecutive month being 3%. But it's not just that.
The average person, I'm sorry, will not understand. They're not going to be hooping and hollering.
Just the way you guys are at. 5%, 6%, 8%, 5%, 3%.
Yeah, I think the education piece is necessary so that they understand that, like, this is what efforts the plant does to make their dollars matter.
So who can kind of summarize?
I was thinking, because, like, there's technical people in this room, and you don't speak the same language.
No, it's not me.
Correct.
Sorry.
Yeah.
But this is also recorded, right, this meeting? So if you take the transcript of the meeting and throw it into AI and say, can you make this?
Dumb it down.
Yeah. Make it so that the average person understands what this means. ChatGPT could spit this out and make it understandable to the average person.
Can we charge you, our leadership team over here, to try and get a blurb?
Not a problem at all.
He's no problem. He's a good
And
writer.
honestly, I'm like ChatGPT queen, so if you write something that's still technical, throw it to me, I'll throw it into
I use it all
AI.
the time.
Okay, good.
I was gonna say, do you guys,
ChatGPT says it's valid.
Right,
yeah.
right. The numbers have to be accurate, but the finesse of it needs to be English.
And you guys do have, like, do we pay access for you guys for?
You use the
Chat-
free
or just the free?
ChatGPT? Yeah, I use the
Everything I
free.
need. It'll actually transcribe my handwritten notes for me. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. 'Cause, yeah, I think that stuff's awesome and it's helpful for exactly stuff like this. And
Yeah.
I think even the paid subscriptions are relatively cheap, so if that was something that you guys were ever interested in, I think, like, anyway, it wouldn't be a bad idea, but the free one's fine, that's fine too, but I think some of them are like $20.
We
a month
need
or
to
something.
really try to get a measurement on public understanding, and, you know, I don't know how to do that. So maybe there could be some brainstorming that,
Yes.
how do we get a pulse of our public? And do they understand why the sewer authority does what it does?
Right.
And how it benefits them in the long run, and why I'm justifying that bill. I'm sorry, I will always justify the bill. Because I'm sitting here because of that bill. So now I understand it better, and I'm not complaining about my bill. How do you then replicate that transfer of knowledge to the average citizen in this town that's paying that bill?
Right. I think it's something we can work on this year to up our game with public education.
Yeah, and there's like, why is the name escaping me? The Environmental Day that we do?
Oh,
EAC.
Greenfest.
Yeah.
Greenfest. That, you know, maybe there's a good place to get a pulse check. Like, let's throw some things out there. The website, I do think, could use still a little bit of work. Like, there's still information about last month. Nobody cares that last month the plant was closed for a day. Like, get it off of there.
Well, how many people do that?
gonna say,
Me, I'm the only one.
Do we track how much?
There's a number on there.
I'm on there sometimes.
Oh, okay, good.
I'll find it out, I'm pretty
And
sure.
I do keep updating the news articles so that they go away, but because we don't have them.
Right.
so
It takes a while for them, yes, to age off.
Right, so I think that's
Just thinking
stuff we
about
can
the.
think about, yeah.
Yeah, the next person to go on, let's not let them see old stuff that doesn't matter anymore. But get something that would be, if people understood, and I maybe have way too much time on my hands. I go and look to see, what could I do that would lower my stormwater fees? Like, what improvements could I make? I'm thinking about new gutters on the house. Will that lower it? I don't know. I went to our website. I still don't know. You know?
Rain barrels.
Rain
I know
barrels.
rain barrel. is the
That's
only
all I
thing.
know.
But you know what? I look at the rain barrel and I say, my spout coming off the back of my house is going into my backyard. It's not going into the stormwater. So what would a rain barrel do? Get me the discount when my gutter going right into my yard doesn't? What? that's stuff like, I don't understand. And does the office want to handle those questions?
The theory behind the rain
No.
barrel, I believe, is that you reuse that water to water your plants and stuff.
But I'm watering my whole backyard.
Yes.
Well, it's like instantaneous peak reduction, right, as opposed to, like, if it goes in your property, it can still, it gets into the soil and it ends up in this, some of it gets into the groundwater, but a lot of it will end up
I
in your
don't know.
sewer.
I've researched seamless gutters. Do they help? According to the seamless gutter people, they say yes.
They want to sell you.
You know what I mean? But there's no clear guideline that I could go to that I clearly understood. If you do A, B, C, D, and/or E, you qualify for a discount.
That's why I was, trying to get HRD guy, like, is there anything else besides a rain barrel that's
Right,
even feasible? And it
Rain barrel is the easiest one to identify, and I have a neighbor who has one. And I did kind of plant the seed, like, do you know you get a discount? Are you taking advantage of the discount? I don't know.
There are drainage systems that, I don't know how feasible it is for the average homeowner to have this put in your backyard. So, I've never seen one yet, or nobody's called to ask me for a discount yet, but
I've even looked up porous concrete. Like if I'm going to have a concrete patio poured, well, if I did a porous concrete versus traditional, does that get me a discount? And if so, does it offset the cost? Would it be worth it?
It definitely never offset the cost in like a million years, but it might be a great thing to
At least
showcase.
it's an
say,
item, like if you're going to do it,
to stormwater's like, everything comes at once, and that's what they're really trying to get rid of that, like, major peak. So it's like, that's why even on like the highways, they'll build like a 2-inch depression that like holds it for no time at all, but you know, just any way to
to spread
soften
it out.
that, to squish the peak down, so. But yeah, capturing all the rainwater and putting, I mean, the barrel, right, it's like 100 gallons, or not even, right, 55 gallons, so,
50, 60
yeah, so.
And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go off on a tangent
That's
that
okay.
wasn't exactly related, but kind of related. So that's my 2 cents.
All right, well, that was a good discussion, but what I do need at this point is a motion to accept the engineer's report related to the items that Fred.
I'll make a quick motion to approve.
I'll second.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right, next item on our agenda is our operation manager's report.
as you saw in the little report I sent to you all earlier in the week, or maybe it was Friday, the Poplar Street stormwater fiasco was over. So,
Yay.
that was just, I don't know if you know why it took so long, but it was a lot. Brett and I were just banging our heads on the walls trying to figure out how to get this pushed through. So luckily it got through. So, but it looks great. I was talking to somebody at the county. They're thrilled with how the bike trail restoration went. So that was all really huge.
That was the one that the SEPTA had to give the approval,
The right of entry.
right of entry, yeah, okay.
So
Good
that
job.
That was stressful, especially waiting. It's like the guy got in there and he had the pipe in the ground in 2 days, and it was,
Sitting and waiting.
was it 8 months for a 2-day job? It was just, but that's done. So something else we're doing now is our polymer system for our belt filter press is as old as the press. It's about 18 to 20 years old. So it's really not working effectively. So what we're doing is we're looking at a system we're building in-house. So Brent he invited us up to his plant in Pottstown to look at their system that they built in-house with their staff. And so, we took our maintenance foreman, John, up there with camera and his ruler. He took his notes, and he's going to town building this thing right now. So we're not sure how much this is going to save, but it's going to save us at least, what, 30 grand at least doing this in-house. And it's going to take up less space, so might open up some room inside the structure for more technology. So that's something we're excited to. So you'll see more of a detailed report once we get that done.
Does John need anything, like education on anything, any type of training or information that we have to help?
No, he's really
He's
good with
just
that
doing his
stuff.
thing.
Yes,
Okay.
And he's been
great.
here 37 years doing this stuff, so he knows the technology, the pumps, he knows this stuff, so, yeah, he was here, he looked at that for 5 minutes.
He's a
Took some
person that
pictures.
needs to see it.
Took
I can
some
draw it, it
pictures,
won't
yeah.
work, he's got to see it, so.
He saw
Awesome.
it, and, I think 2 days later, he had all these pipes glued together, and so he's just waiting on parts now, so.
Right?
Excellent job. You know, what, last thing I wanted to talk about was, I just wanted to just acknowledge our staff with the snow removal, not just, just yesterday or the day before, but 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Both snowstorms, I was short-staffed, and these guys were just incredible. I mean, they were just knocking it out. I mean, I think that 2 storms ago, they were done by lunchtime. They had the whole plant cleared, sidewalks out front. So I just really wanted to acknowledge them and how hard they worked at it.
It's great.
Do they get acknowledged at Borough Council meetings? I know they did Public Works.
We could certainly look to bring them in and do something. So at the March work session, I'm going to do a presentation that Brent and you guys worked on to put together our accomplishments and what we're looking to work on in 2026. So that's part of the community education component. So maybe there is something that we can acknowledge the staff for, if you can kind of put together what we would potentially want to acknowledge the staff for, where we could bring them to a council meeting, give them an accommodation or something, and acknowledge them publicly for the work that they do in the community. Yeah, it's a great idea.
That concludes my report.
I'd love to see a copy of that PowerPoint.
Yeah, I actually just put it together.
Okay, cool.
Copilot help.
Oh, yeah, co-pilot with those.
So I'll send it out to everybody actually to do a once-over to make sure that it makes sense from a flow perspective.
I gave you everything
Do you have did I ask you for one other thing that you said you'll get to me? I don't know. I'll look.
Look, I think I sent it back to you. You asked for one item, whatever.
I'll look,
Just
but
look and-
I'll send this out to everybody. Take
Yeah.
a look at it, see if there's anything we want to add or enhance, and then
Okay.
And Ed, there was nothing then that the sewer authority, the sewer plant needed to do in relationship to the water main break on West 10th?
No, actually, we were pretty lucky there. That's the one block of West 9th that we don't have a pipe in. So, when I got the call that night from the police department, I was like, wait a minute, but I still made sure when I sent John out there to go look at it, and now we were very, very lucky.
Sure, because it was a mess.
That was nice.
welcome to the failing infrastructure of Conshohocken.
Yes.
Anything on, oh, God.
At least they stopped it and got it filled, because that could have been ugly.
Yeah. I cursed every time I drove down Caldwell and it was still closed.
That spent carbon media, anything worth talking about that? When I was at that R&R plant tour, one of the vendors was like, hey, we could have a sensor that would help like figure out when these things need to be exchanged. You feel pretty fine about that system or anything?
I actually just sent a sample out a week ago to have it analyzed.
Just to see if we're close to requiring.
More or less just to test it for, because we're on a schedule every 5 years, and we're probably about 6 months, 7 months away from 5 years. So we're just going to plan to do it every 5 years, whether we need it or not. So what I'm sending it out for now is for landfill approval.
So it's not considered hazardous or whatever.
Exactly, yes. So, and that's another thing, another project we're going to do. We're doing it in-house this year. We're going to try and do it ourselves, and we got it all planned out.
Just try to swap out the media yourself, okay?
Yes, so.
We could do it ourselves for about, we're saying 20 to 30,000 less. I'll be using another township that I work with to help us out. We'll subcontract them, and we're going to do it ourselves. I mean, we've been working on this for 6 to 8 months. If I can save 20,000, we're going to do it.
Yes. And you have to subcontract the
And that-
crew or the equipment?
Yeah, we're going to subcontract a vacuum system out, and we're working hand in hand with White Marsh, so we work conjunctions on all aspects.
Okay.
Great.
And then we'll still have them as the supplier will still be on site to help, to make sure we're doing it correctly.
So, I mean, is that like knock a warranty off of us or anything like that? Or
It's just straightforward, it's just adding cocoa.
Yeah.
And like you say, it's it's 5 years, you just do it no matter what, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it just gets blinded eventually in the organisms and we haven't had any, you know, to date with the odor control, odor issues. And I don't want any odor control.
Right.
So we're gonna just do it.
That'll get the public's attention. Odor.
All right. Any other questions for our operations manager this evening? Hearing no other questions, can we accept the operations manager report into record?
I'll make the motion to accept the operator's report.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next up is the executive director's report.
So I'll keep mine short. I mean, we explained everything on Fred's report and Ed's. The biggest item was we met a few weeks ago with the borough to finalize 2025 for dealing with stormwater and evaluate for 2026. And you left the meeting, everything's working very well. I mean, you saw how we handled the Poplar Street issue internally. Ed did an excellent job on that. I mean, just brief understanding that took so long is with SEPTA. That's the honest truth. It took a long time to get that through, to get the permits. And then the biggest talk was how we're going to move with the borough, and obviously it's our capital projects that we're going to do this year in conjunction with recommendation of the borough and from HRG. And then that's $1 million expected. This year's $150,000. We have that to do that project. Ed's going to be working with the borough to get that in motion. And then next year, we look at possibly about around $1 million project, and in a couple of years, another $1 million. I had Shannon do a evaluation where our projection of cash balances based upon our rate structures. I think currently, as we stand, we're in good stands unless we have some major catastrophe, that we should be able to meet the needs of our capital improvement plan in conjunction with the borough and what HRG is recommending in the future expenditures and what DEP is coming down. So, I mean, Shannon, do you have any comments on that? I mean, we should be in good standings, I think, at this point. It all depends if DEP does something different, but the game plan as a discussion we met with the borough is, you know, the goal is not to borrow any money. We are at our thresholds where we stand right now. And as we did our rate structures for the next three years, I think we're in good standings, you know, with our game plans we set forward.
And then on the borough side, my understanding is the reconciliation all basically squared up.
Yeah, all squared up.
From your side and the borough side. So congratulations on keeping the paperwork and making sure the expense and everything are in alignment with what we anticipated. So that demonstrates that you have the competency to financially run your stormwater management program, and it adds to your expertise level at the authority. So we're really not just a Conshohocken authority, and that rolls into my next question. Is this a time for rebranding for the Conshohocken authority? Do we want to look at renaming us something that would consist of stormwater management and sewer water management? And what could that look like as a rebranding? And is that up to the authority, or does that go back to the borough who, and I don't know what the process is, so I just wanted to kind of throw that out there. It's a perfect discussion point.
Yeah, it would involve the borough, and it's a pretty straightforward process. We've actually done it we had to go through it a couple of times when we did financing, so it's a pretty straightforward process. But I think that, you know, there's certainly something that makes sense there, so.
Great. Is everybody interested in kind of exploring that? It was just a thought process I had. I'm like, why don't we rebrand since we are something new now?
Yeah, and the timing is good if we want to help the public pay attention.
Right? It all kind of goes along with what you're talking with
Yeah,
education.
it does, so I like it.
Okay.
So Brett and I will put our heads together and we'll report back next month.
Great, thanks.
And then as a last item, and as I said all along, I mean, us three over here, do the stormwater, and our goals is to no net increase from our staff. And I know we had that discussion with the borough, even with Ed, with Poplar, I mean, he spent a lot of time with Poplar Street. We're at net zero, in my opinion, how we run it, what we're doing. There's no extra time, and it's conversation for us. And the goal is costs. I mean, I know that when you were out there in the audience, I mean, that's what the game plan was, and that's what we're doing. I don't see, I mean, I can't sit here and count the minutes, but it's not, there's not a burden on us. As we're doing, what made it, to me, it made it very fundamentally sound was when we were upgrading the Cassell 2 or 3 years ago and bringing this process along. We were doing it anyway. So if you did it that time, it's no extra cost to us to do it, to add that portion. So, again, it was a good meeting with the borough, and as we proceed, you'll see Ed talking about the project this year that will handle the capital project that needs to be instituted this year. And we'll do that, and Ed will be meeting the borough staff to go ahead and do that. We're going to try, again, another item that we'll try to accomplish ourselves. Other than that completes my report, other than we have an executive session as well.
Anyone have any other questions for Brent or
Unfortunately, I
comments?
do. I mean, so you, I mean, that meeting, again, like I've been harping a couple times, I feel like the borough kind of does stuff for us, and we're kind of like the oversight and cash people as much as anything, right? I mean, what, you guys meet with them frequently, or only, I guess, I mean, I'm like curious what else is in this meeting in general, like what kind of decisions you're actually trying to make, or you're just trying to square how much people are helping, each side and where the money falls, or what's, I guess, I'm still a little, I don't know, I guess it still seems like a bit of a strange arrangement to me, a little bit. It's like, so yeah, I guess I don't know where a question's coming here, but I mean, I'd love some meeting minutes from that meeting
if
or
you give
something
it
like that, or-
perspective, we are the owner of the system.
Yes.
Just like your owner of the house.
Sure.
So if you have someone come in and do your heater, which is the borough,
Yep.
we subcontract the borough.
But
to
this is
the
like someone
company.
coming to your heater every, yes.
I'm just trying, that's what the whole goal is. The borough is our subcontractor, and then we're the rate structure based upon what you could feasibly do, a legal process. We are a rate. We developed a rate based upon.
So they're like the full package subcontractor who comes in, and you guys are, as much as anything, just like trying to make sure the money lines up is in that scenario.
We're making sure that things are being done just like if you're the homeowner, just no different. I'm trying to make it simple that the public here, that's what's going on. But we're handling the capital, and, just like this Popular Street, that was our first thing that we ever done since we took over the ownership of the
Yeah.
stormwater.
To Jack's question, though, ultimately the borough owns the authority.
Correct.
The authority is a standalone system that was chartered by the borough to manage the wastewater. Now, we've added stormwater to it, so the borough has the authority, basically, so if you think about who has the authority to say that we want to keep the charter because it's working well, it's keeping it as an independent, functioning unit that isn't an actual borough department, right? It could be a borough department, which is what Lansdale, I think, does. It's within their,
Yeah, Lansdale does.
right? But at some point, the borough said, not our core business, let's charter it off and have a core team that actually does it, sets its own structure. So we work under the borough's charter for it. Yeah, if you can explain it a little.
So the authority is a separate legal entity, but we are a component unit of the borough. The reason that a lot of municipalities do this incorporation of a separate authority is because the Municipalities Authorities Act provides a little bit more flexibility for an authority than the incorporated municipality would have when it comes to rate setting and things like that. It's a separate legal entity, but it is a component unit of the borough,
And that's based on borough code,
based on the Municipalities Authorities Act.
based on the Municipalities Authorities Act,
And
which is outside of borough code.
And some townships or boroughs outsource this, correct?
What do you mean by outsource?
Like it would be a separate entity from the borough?
We are a separate entity from the borough.
Some sell it privately.
Some have, yeah, some sell it to
Some are
private.
privatized, yes.
Okay.
And a lot of, there are municipalities that have an in-house department, as Tina was saying.
Okay.
It's a complex legal structure.
That I understood.
What was the benefit to bring it under the sewer authority?
The stormwater?
Yeah, why didn't the borough keep it?
I think when you look at strategically, water isn't the Borough of Conshahocken's primary competency.
So
put it where it aligns the best, and that was with the sewer authority. It also strategically helps us say the sewer authority as a chapter is stable, and we don't necessarily need to look at privatization or taking it into the borough where it's not core competency. We have a team that is just focused on everything water. So it kind of made sense to boost the oomph of our water program for the Borough of Conshohocken.
It also allowed for the consolidation of certain resources, so, when we're out, when the sewer authority is out repairing its lines, now we're really coordinating with the stormwater and things like that. So it did allow for some consolidation of efforts and consolidation of resources. And again, the Authorities Act gives municipal authorities certain protections, certain abilities that the incorporated municipality may not have. More so apparent in the sanitary realm, but it certainly does provide some flexibility in the stormwater as well. The Authorities Act governs all sorts of things: electric, airports, sewer, and stormwater are just small pieces.
Parking.
Airport.
Parking.
Conshohocken Airport.
No, we got a helipad, that's good enough.
And currently, the way the situation works, now that's the same, I'll give you an example. Well, if in 10 years the borough says, I can't manage it anymore because I don't have the qualified staff to do it any longer. And that could happen with staffing. The borough could say, we can't do it anymore, you have to push it to us, then we have to hire staff. But currently, the situation we have, with this board, the borough and their staff, their subcontractor can do the job. And they're doing it, I think they're doing an excellent job at this point in time. And like the Popular Street, that was found on their expertise to say, hey, we have a line that needs to be replaced.
But we would be free to use a different this makes the most sense to everyone, but if it
Right now,
didn't,
they
as
had
you're saying,
the
if it didn't
tools.
For some reason,
If we
then-
didn't do it, we would have had to buy all the tools to do the job they had. So
Or hire a
it-
different
hire a different
subcontractor.
So that they have the trucks, the backhoes, and everything else to do what they needed to do. If not, we would have had to add at least 2 to 3, at least 2 people. It made sense.
I'm sure I'll have more questions.
Yeah, just whatever, you can always ask me, call or whatever.
But no,
And
it's just-
if it's a legal standpoint, you can always reach out to Lauren.
And you said you're going to tell us what that 150K for this year is at a later date?
No, I think that we just met, a week or 2 ago? That's going to start ramping up. You're going to start seeing that as a discussion, and the game plan is to finish it by late summer.
And that has to do with the MS4 regs.
Yeah, that we have to do.
So what is that?
MS4 rigs?
Well, no, I understand what the MS4 regs are. Sorry, I'm not going to recap everything here. I'm just, what are we spending the money on?
We don't know, we
don't
were
even
just
know.
a buy, we would,
Just
with
told
construction.
that's gonna be
Yeah,
something.
that's what we're gonna do. I mean, again, the borough already did some legwork for us, to determine what needed to be done. Now it's us.
Yeah, that's the other weird component, is the borough holds the MS4 permit. So I think from the borough's perspective administratively, they look at then what could be in line for the next, that we could afford,
Yep.
and that the teams could do and manage.
Sounds good. I mean, yeah, it's just an interesting, it's like, hey, I was talking to the borough about something about stormwater, and it's like, well, it's not necessarily always brought to the board. I don't know all those, what's going on in those, so I just, know, that's, it's just interesting, yeah. I'm not a stormwater guy either, so like, I'm a waste engineer, so some of these are all match up, just like you're saying, there's water expertise, but I don't necessarily completely understand that arm of it here either, so, like, I don't know if they should, once a year, maybe one of the, again, the top guy at the stormwater job for Conshohocken Borough to come talk to us or something, I don't know, or something like that might be helpful for, or maybe I should give him a call or something like
Yeah.
that. Is there a person that's,
What was it, Dan?
Yeah, Dan, I believe, is technically the stormwater foreman.
Yeah.
what's his last name?
Ingram, I'm sorry, Dan Ingram.
Okay. Anyway, just, yeah. Just interesting, it's like, hey, we got this meeting with the, I don't know, whereas a lot of the stuff goes through here, but it sounds like you guys are handling it, I just, is there, yeah, we're just trying to look for.
Tina, do you have the date of the borough's meeting where?
First Wednesday of March.
Okay.
Is the one that you're presenting?
Yeah. Any other questions for the executive director?
I think I'm good.
Good.
Ladies? All right, I need a motion to accept the executive director's report into the record.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Motion carries. Any old business we have to talk about? Hearing no old business. No public comment came in while we were here? No public comment? All right, then I will call this meeting adjourned with an executive session to follow.
I'll make a motion to end the meeting.
There you go. A motion to end the meeting.
Aye.
Second.
Second.
And aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.